I'm Natalie Smith with Royal Lepage Benchmark, and this is my colleague.
Hi, I'm Sirhan Tarkin with Royal Lepage Benchmark as well.
And I'm a first-year realtor, and a lot of my friends are in the life stage right now where they're getting ready to buy a house for the first time ever, which is such an exciting time, but also comes with so many questions and daunting tasks. So we've got my colleague here to take us through the process. Sirhan has helped many couples buy their first-time homes. So what does somebody have to worry about when they're getting started? The first step.
Well, the first step that you really have to look at typically is really how prepared are you? Are you ready for a home? What I mean by that is, are you emotionally ready? Are you financially ready? And of course, it's a very inward kind of question, but it's a tough one, and it's one you have to ask because there's a lot of things that come with home ownership that you may not have considered. And yes, a lot of them are financial, but some of them aren't. And as a result, you really kind of have to think about that. But as soon as you think like, hey, you know what? I'm not calling you, Natalie, because I'm not ready. I'm calling you because I think I am. And as a result, once you have called Natalie or myself, the first step we typically say is, hey, go talk to a mortgage broker.
Yeah.
Finances is everything, and the first step is really finding out what you're going to be approved for, and whether you have what you think you have in terms of availability to buy a home.
Now, what's the minimum amount that you can put down?
Yeah, so over the years, if it's a revenue property, it's different, but typically, of course, I think you're asking about first-time buyers, so you're probably looking at buying a house to live in. If it's a personal residence, 5% is the bare minimum, and most people only do 5%, and most people try in their late 20s, early 30s, right? But 5% all the way up to, well, 20% is sort of another tier that we have to consider.
Mm-hmm. And is 20% sort of the industry standard?
20% is where you don't have to pay for insurance, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's something called Canadian Mortgage Housing Corporation insurance. And when you pay less than 20%, you have to add a little bit of a premium. It's about 2 to 3% depending on how much money you put down. But I always tell my first-time buyers, you know what? Don't worry about that. If you have 5%, let's get you into a house. Because let's not forget, if you're renting, you're paying money for someone else's mortgage, and or you're never getting anything back for that rental monthly cost.
Exactly. A lot of people are really hesitant when they hear that they need to get an insured mortgage. They think that that means they need to save longer, when in reality, that amount actually becomes negligible when you add it up over the years, right?
Absolutely. If you think about it, if we're talking about 2 to 3% extra on your mortgage, and the typical Calgary market is seeing about 2 to 3% gains, it means if you bought something this year, it should go up by about 3%, which is what the amount you would be paying extra for. So it's about a 1-year loss, if you will.
Yeah. So along those same lines, is it smart to try and time the market, or when is the best time to buy?
You know, I've been hearing this question for about 20 years, and I promise you, there is no such thing as a perfect time. The perfect time actually was yesterday. The reason for that is because the sooner you get into the market, of course, the better. I am old enough to remember when condos in Calgary used to sell for $150,000. Now you need to spend $300,000, and those are the same condos. Houses used to start at $400,000. Now you have to spend about $700,000 for the same houses. So the best time was yesterday.
Or 20 years ago.
Or 20 years ago, but really
yesterday for first-time home buyers.
That's
for
right.
Sure.
That's right. As soon as possible would be my answer.
Absolutely. Awesome. And so once you've got your financing in place and you've determined that you're personally ready for the responsibility of home ownership, what do you do after that?
Well, that's when the fun begins, really. That's when you reach out to your realtor and you say, hey, realtor, I've got pre-approval. What we call in our industry is a pre-approval. I'm pre-approved up to X amount, whatever that number is. Let's go shopping. Now that you know that your wallet is full to a certain extent, we can start looking at some places, right? I always say neighborhood first, house second, or condo second, meaning, choose what lifestyle you want to be part of. A lot of first-time buyers look at house first or condo first, meaning you look at the details of the house, the kitchen, you're like, oh, this kitchen is really nice, or that bedroom's really nice. But really, you should be looking at community first or building first, not the actual structure itself.
Yeah, and there's a lot of prep that you can do before you get started looking, of writing down what you value in a home, what your non-negotiables are, what you could compromise on. I always tell clients to write down your dream home, what your dream home would have too, even if it's a far-fetched dream and you're a first-time home buyer. It just helps me get a sense of what you value and what your lifestyle would look like in a dream world. And the best way to determine what you want, though, is getting into actually seeing homes. Right?
Absolutely. And on that note, why don't we go see this one right over here? Because I think
Absolutely.
there's a really nice condo waiting for us that we should really go have a look at and see what it's got.
Awesome. Let's take a look. I can't wait.